Where's the intro music?
Cue intro music.
I had the customary pop go around.
I still have a beer in the fridge. I might go retrieve it and leave you solo for a little bit. But I don't want to put you in that. I don't want to put you in that position. I mean, so just so you know, like,
go ahead, run.
I've got the cool, refreshing Pepsi here. No alcohol. Cheers.
Okay. Well, if you do want to, let me know because I can fill time. We'll talk about. Yeah, I got stuff. I can fill time. Don't worry about that.
Honestly, though, I should be drunk right now because, like, I can't believe that I have to look at last week's results sober.
Yeah, they were not friendly to me, NFL or college. Neither were my friend. Not this weekend.
Well, as people will learn in the description, which, by the way, welcome to this week's show of Zbookies.com sports betting podcast. My man, Jarrod Stidham.
Hello.
The other man, N2, Nick Sisson. So we're here again, shamefully, with our tail between our legs.
Yeah.
I'm like a dog that got caught shitting in the garage. You know, my dog.
Okay.
And we're here. So we're gonna make the best of it, buddy. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna go over last week's results. We're gonna right our wrongs this week. That's the goal.
Yeah. Let's just talk about first off how weird of a weekend it was. And then
was it weird?
I felt pretty good in my picks, and I just can't believe that the NFL. We'll start with my first one that kind of was a head scratcher. I felt really confident in it. It was, in fact, the first game I did. Rams and Bears.
Yeah. No, I feel like the NFL sold on us, bro.
Just unreal. And then do you really want to talk about the problem of last week was? Because there was really only one for me.
Lay it on me. Just go. Yeah.
The reffing.
You didn't like that?
No, it was terrible. I mean, it was like one-sided. We couldn't get a call to like. I mean,
are you talking about this? Are you talking about the Seahawks game?
Of course.
Come on. I don't know, man. I mean, it was.
DK didn't have the 2-point conversion. Yeah. DK wasn't getting PI'd. Yeah. The interception that they called, did he lose the ball on the ground? Yeah. Like all of these were, you can find still shots of them. All of these are true. It was a terribly.
No, see, I want to go back to that interception real quick since you brought it up, right?
Okay.
I don't know if it really hit the ground or not, but what I thought after I saw that was check that man's gloves. I mean, there's got to be some stickum. There's got to be a foreign substance of some kind because that just doesn't happen, bro. Like that was a completely different page out of the book of amazement. I can't believe he caught the ball, held onto it.
Well, part of that's true. Hold on. I'll find it. You keep talking. Fill the space. What was your big takeaway?
Well, first off, my big takeaway is you're frozen in time on the screen, at least on my end. I don't know why, but it says that the signals. Are you hearing me? Okay, by the way, just to make sure.
Yeah. No, I'm good. You can't see me.
Okay,
I'm all good here.
I can see you. Your video picture is frozen according to what I'm looking at right now. So, unless maybe my internet's not doing so well here, but either way, yeah. You might exit out and re-enter because I don't know what's going on.
That's fine.
Yeah, do that. I'll fill time. All right. Jarrod's coming back. For some reason, the frame went still. It was a stillborn screen. Jarrod wants to know my big takeaway from last week. I really don't want to talk about it without him here, though. It just doesn't feel right. So I'm going to take a drink of my cool, refreshing Pepsi. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. Again, Nick Sisson of N2 Media and my man Jarrod Stidham, Coach J Rock. There he is. Let's hope that the internet holds up here. I'm in the Lexington dead zone, so apparently things don't work so well. But yeah. Anyway, Jarrod, you wanted to know my big takeaway. Well,
yeah.
So my big takeaway was the Seahawks couldn't come up with a stop if it meant saving Lois Lane, and they were Superman. They just didn't have it on Monday night on the defensive side of the ball. And, obvious reasons, of course. I mean, they were missing their entire front four, basically. They were missing 6 of their main guys in their front 7. And then Julian Love ends up leaving the game with an injury. So obviously, that's not good. When you're missing a bunch of guys. And, the other thing that I took away from the game is that Mike McDonald called a lot of man coverage, or whomever the defensive play caller was, called a lot of man coverage. And, that's all fine and well if the quarterback's not having a good day, but, you're relying on a ball to be a little bit behind the intended target, a little bit out in front, whatever it may be. But Goff was just on it. And the running game for Detroit really took a lot of pressure off of Goff too. I mean, they ran the ball, I think, 10 more times than they passed. Both running backs got into the end zone. David Montgomery is an absolute man.
He is.
So for all of those.
When Witherspoon tried to he thought he was going to have the hit, and the next thing you know, no, you don't. Montgomery just absolute truck stick and then hits a juke play right after it. It was like you were playing Madden,
Yeah, no, it was a crazy play for sure. Something that you don't see very often. And especially with professional athletes. I mean, you might see it. I've seen it at high school before, sure. But, I've seen it on Derrick Henry highlight reels, but right in front of you. David Montgomery, he's built different. And, the Lions, honestly, they go as far as their running backs will ultimately take them. I mean, I'm not trying to take away anything from Goop, but, he's not going to do that ever again. I mean, I don't think
a perfect game. I mean, I know he'll never do it again, but that was like you were playing Madden on rookie.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. Yeah, that was my big takeaway. I mean, the offense played great. I love Ryan Grubb. I think his play calling is okay. I'd personally like to see the run a little bit more. And I think Kenneth Walker had I'm in between the words good and great here. I think he had a goodish, greatish game. But ultimately, on the offensive side of the ball, I kind of wanted to see a little bit more Charbonnet in the game plan. I wanted to see a little bit more of him running between the tackles and kind of wearing their defense down a little bit. I mean, Detroit's defense was on the field for a vast majority of the game because they were scoring so quick.
Yeah.
Seattle was able to kind of do what they wanted there towards the end. Was the offensive PI kind of ticky-tack? Yeah. I don't think it was probably offensive pass interference. I could see what they might have been looking at. Was the DK pass interfered with? Yeah, I think he was accosted. I think he was, going through airport security. It wasn't it wasn't good, but it was what it was. Would it have ultimately changed the outcome? In my opinion, no. All things considered, if all those things happen, Detroit, what's the worst case scenario? They're tied and then they get the ball late in the game. I mean, sure, anything can happen. But ultimately, I still think they would have figured out a way to win the game.
I mean, you can tell me it wouldn't have mattered, but in my opinion, I would rather have my team lose that way than losing where you're like, well, that was a 2-point conversion. Momentum still would have been with us. Like if you're a tired defense who can't stop anything, you just need to make one series of defense matter, right? Like one series of defense matter. That's all you need. And then get Geno back out there with, Grubb. But I liked the offense. I like that Seattle's been competent moving the ball yet again through the air. Kenneth Walker being somewhat healthy is definitely a good thing. I just hate how much every time it seems like we get a good back, it's just injuries are everywhere. We can't get like where's our Frank Gore at? You know what I'm saying?
Sure. That I don't know.
I don't know. I like Seattle. I liked a lot. I didn't feel like that was so much of like a holy shit that we have a lot to work on. It's like just get healthy and we're still going to be a team that can compete.
It was definitely a fun game to watch, even though they were on the losing end of it.
Yeah.
And it's like I tweeted, hey, there's a lot of football left, and it's not nearly as bad as being down 28-0 to our division rivals with Sam Darnold as the quarterback, plus the running back that we released in the offseason.
Right.
Could have been a lot worse.
Could have been a lot worse.
Speaking of could have been a lot worse, I don't think that the week that we put together combined could have been much worse. Honestly, it was already pretty bad. Just to recap it, my lock of the week for the first time, good things must come to an end. My locks are all gone now. I'm not perfect with locks anymore. I locked in Georgia beating Bama. And, for a minute there, it looked like that Georgia, might actually come through. And, they ended up taking the lead late. But Bama has a human cheat code that's like under the age of 18. He can't vote. He can't buy smokes. But he can catch touchdown passes and he can do weird pirouette matrix spin moves.
Yeah, he's just
from a
different planet.
Yeah, I don't know if that features in College Football 25. You'd be able to tell me. But I haven't seen a move like that, and keep his balance. Like he just looked like, I don't know, he looked like he was able to do I don't know what did they call them, grapevines or whatever, when you cross your legs and you're moving backwards. It looked like he was doing grapevines there for a second, just like, perfectly in tune, at full speed, outrunning, guys from Georgia. I mean,
I think like all of it was very good. It was the fact that you had two people after the two people that had an appropriate angle on him, and he had enough time to look back at him and pull his mouthpiece out because he knew they weren't going to catch him from 20 yards out, and then he just turned on the Jets. And like you said, he's 17. He wasn't even an early enrollee. He got to campus at like the beginning of summer workouts. So he's an alien. Everybody talks about Jeremiah Smith for Ohio State, and that guy's good. Don't get me wrong, but Ryan Williams could legitimately be something we've never seen in college football before. Just terrorizing people.
So what you're saying is he's on the Men in Black's watch list.
Absolutely.
Factual. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I want to do one other point before we move on. I wanted to talk one other thing.
Yeah.
Brucey and the topographical pick. He's been on one. I fucked it up because I wanted the points and got greedy. I should have just took the Vikings straight up. Someone tried to warn me. I didn't listen. I was naive. But yeah, Vikings. Just what a team. What a team the Vikings are this year.
What are you talking about? The Vikings won.
I know, but I took them at 2.5. It was a 2-point game.
Underdog. They covered 2.5.
Oh.
The Packers were favored.
No, maybe. Oh, I wrote it down wrong. That's my fault.
Yeah,
I wrote it down wrong.
Packers were favored plus 2.5. Bro, you're in the fucking clubhouse.
Oh, well then we're fine then.
You're swinging, bro.
Okay.
Below the knees.
We're still good then.
Yeah.
Still good.
What are you talking about?
I wrote it down wrong. That's what happened.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it.
Apparently.
have a
All
little
right.
minus.
So good job, Brucey, in the topographical pick of the week again. I could use a little bit of help like that. Speaking of needing some help, UNLV did not need any help from their former starting quarterback, as they absolutely dismantled the Fresno State Bulldogs in my pick. And then I don't know if you remember, but I was so cautious last week, Jarrod, in picking Notre Dame. And the classic Notre Dame thing to do is don't cover, don't let you down by losing, but push. They end up pushing 7 with Louisville at 31-24. And then Kansas, I mean, come on, man. Rock Chalk Jayhawk goes down to the Horned Frogs at home 38-27, being a 2-point favorite, turning around and losing at home by 11. James Madison. Oh, your boy. I love James Madison. I don't think Justin Domashevitz is watching right now, but 63-7 over Ball State. Love me some James Madison. They actually got me a victory there. And then Arizona outright, straight up on the road, 23-10 over Utah, top 10 upset. Zona, who needs Jed Fish, bro? They're looking tough now. And that made my college week 4-1. So 1 push, 4 losses, 1 win if we go backwards.
Damn. Yeah, my
Not
college, I had BYU over Baylor, that one.
Ching.
I took Purdue against Nebraska. Nope. I had Colorado covering 14 at UCF. That cha-ching.
Straight up domination.
I took Wisconsin at USC, and that looked like it was going to happen for about a half a game.
It did.
Stanford at Clemson. I just wanted them to cover 22. They couldn't manage that. That hurt my heart. And then, I mean, the game of the week, Georgia and Bama. I took Georgia. Thought it was going to happen. And then, as we talked about, UFO dropped off Ryan Williams in August, and here we are. And then my lock of the week was Washington. And I mean, we'll talk about it, I'm sure, as the year progresses. But I think things aren't as bad as they look.
I appreciate that.
Things aren't as bad as they look.
Well, they outplayed them. They just lost. Missed 3 field goals. I mean, that's your game right there.
They just need to get into the end zone and do things.
I can't put it on the parlay, but, bro, they're favored by 3 against Michigan. That's the number 10 team in the country. I don't know what the odds makers know that I don't know. Yeah. But
are you serious?
Yeah.
Do you know what Michigan averages passing yards wise this year?
I mean, -4.
It's like it's honest to God, like 65 yards. Alex Orji threw 35 yards in his first start. Last week he threw for 83.
They don't need to throw the ball.
Well, they can't run the ball.
They just won against USC in Minnesota back-to-back weeks.
Minnesota, they could have lost.
Could have, but they didn't.
And then USC, come on.
USC blew that game.
Yeah, USC blew that game. So, anyways, let's move on. Last week was behind us. Okay, it's over there.
We can't move on yet. We got to talk about last week in the NFL. Jarrod, the first step in recovery is admitting your wrongs and letting everybody know that you suck. And right now, I want everybody to know that I suck. I had Carolina covering 4.5 against Cincinnati at home 4.5 dog with Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle. And Cincinnati comes and gets their first win. Absurd, 34-24. I had Green Bay -2.5, and they shit their pants and fell behind 28-0 and couldn't dig themselves out of the hole or find a change of underwear. And then the Colts, what was that? The Colts ended up beating Pittsburgh. It was closer, on the scoreboard than it was in the actual game. And Joe Flacco, right? I mean, comes in and wins the game and kills you, right? So there we go. Started 0-3. The Bears, I had the Bears, I had the Rams beating the Bears on the road, and the Bears somehow put up 24 points and win that one. So there you go, off to an 0-4 start. Thank God the San Francisco 49ers covered 10.5 against New England. And thank God I took the Chargers with that extra half a point because they were 7.5-point dogs at home to Kansas City for some absurd reason, and they end up covering it by that half point. So I'm 2-4 last week.
Yeah, no, I went right with you. Rams, Bears, no. I did have the Vikings because of the topographical positioning of the gang. Philadelphia, just Jalen Hurts just pissed down his leg. He's not an athlete. He needs
Not
AJ
an
Brown.
athlete.
Needs
Yeah.
as my friend Coach 30 would say. Yeah,
Yep.
that was terrible. Pantsed by Baker. Just terrible
Yep.
game. I did yet again that kid. Jaden Washington. Are they a player? Are they the NFC East team?
We'll talk later. Let's revisit. We'll revisit.
All right. Seattle. No excuses, just not the game that I thought they were going to play. I thought for a second they were going to do it, and then they didn't. And then the other game that just, yet again, they were such wild results this week, but Buffalo in Baltimore. Like, what the fuck, Buffalo? What do you Derrick Henry, first play from scrimmage, 84-yard touchdown. You guys are just like, hey, we're going to lay down this week. So, yeah, I went 2-4. Not a good showing for me. 11-8 on the year. And then college-wise, I went 2-5, 13-15 on the year. We're above 500 on.
Yeah, you're doing fine ultimately, I'm not at all shocked though. I'm not at all shocked that Baltimore got it together against Buffalo.
Yeah. Against Buffalo, that was the more shocking part. Like, I knew Baltimore would get it together at some point. Like, it's a really easy game plan. Like, let Derrick Henry be Derrick Henry. But, like, the fact they got it together against the Bills hurt.
It hurts when you pick the Bills. Absolutely.
Yeah, it does.
But
we learned.
I mean, the Ravens are a playoff team. There's no way they're not.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'd have a hard time believing that they don't make the playoffs. And when you've got, the running back that you've got in the offseason in Derrick Henry, and then you've already got the running back that you've got in Lamar Jackson, it's a two-headed monster. And occasionally Jackson can throw the ball, and occasionally guys can get open for him too. So as long as their defense plays like they did as well against Buffalo, they're going to be in every single ball game.
Yep.
They could have very easily won that game against Kansas City to start the year too. So just some things didn't go their way, and they couldn't guard Xavier Howard. Xavier Howard. But anyway, yeah. I mean, it was a tough week for us. Now we can officially move on. It's behind us.
Yep.
Now we are going to look. Now we are going to look forward. So let's hope that we don't have to deal with last week again.
So let's where do you want to start? NFL?
That seems okay.
That seems okay.
No, we're not going there though. That's not going to work. I changed my mind.
Okay.
We're going to do college first. College is Saturday. We're doing that. Let's do college first.
All right, we're flipping it around. All right.
We're doing college first. So this is the Coach J-Rock on the bottom of your screen scrolling by if you want to follow along.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed in Jared's picks is instead of going with spreads, he's going with the N2 approach and doing all money line picks. I like it. I'm not doing that though this week, but
I just
go through it.
I feel after last week, we went too risky. We got a little chaotic, and we got to reel it back in. You got to take your shots where they're smart, but just play it smart. Let's not get greedy here. So my first game of the week, Mizzou. Okay. At AM. Love it. Okay. I think it's going to be one of those games that we talk about, like, man, great college game this weekend. I do like the Tigers here, right? Coach Drink, I think he'll be able to get them to travel. I just like them. I think A&M's still searching for their identity. You had one guy who's supposed to be your quarterback this year, right? He was Connor Wegman. He goes down early, and now you're turning to a backup and trying to figure out what exactly your team is. Don't love it. So give me them. Give me the Tigers. Rutgers travels to Nebraska. Hard fought game last week against Washington. If Washington could finish the drill, there would be Rutgers not being undefeated with the number not by their name and probably a different outlook on this game. But Nebraska, they're a pleasant surprise. Defensively played great all year long. They've got, a quarterback who is inspired by one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So he's always going to have that chip on his shoulder. And then I think the jalapeno in my little salsa of my 6-pack this weekend is, of course, the game. And can you explain to me why I do this? Can you explain to me why I hate Clemson?
I can't really explain that, I don't think, but on the same side of it, I can't explain why in God's name you would pick Florida State over anybody. I mean, Florida State just got absolutely bludgeoned last week by Southern Methodist. I just can't. There's still time to switch here, buddy. If you want to hit it, let me tell you something right now. Hold up. If you hit 5 legs of this thing, right, which I think you can, by the way, and the reason that you don't cash this ticket is because you chose Florida State, I might not let you hear the end of it. You might have to wear a Florida State hat like next week. I got one somewhere. I'll find it.
That's fine. I like Florida State. And that's why I'm going to take him here. So I think they're in wounded animal mode. You don't have many games on Florida State's schedule where this team could really jump back and have a really hard season ahead of them. And granted, they played terrible, but DJU's not going to be playing. And I can't tell you why, but I like it. And I have to have one of those games in there that's just kind of why would you pick that? And we've seen Clemson roll off a lot of really big wins, spread wise, but it's against App State, not good. NC State, not good. Stanford, not good. In Florida State, they're not good either, but
they're really not good.
This is the first time Clemson's on the road. Okay. And maybe, just maybe, Florida State, the team that was ranked in the top 10 preseason, maybe they show up for one game. And maybe this is it. So give me Florida State. The fourth game, Utah State travels to Boise. And I don't understand how anybody doesn't think Gianti should be a Heisman finalist is out of my mind, out of their mind. If he's able to stay healthy and play the entire year, Gianti absolutely should be. He's what the Heisman's about, in my opinion. Am I wrong?
No, I think that statistically a quarterback is going to have a much better chance of getting the Heisman. But you're not wrong. No, it's just
he's averaging.
I get it. I feel like it's a blue blood award, though.
I hear you. That's why I'm saying that's what's wrong with this award. But if a guy who has 82 carries in 4 games for 845 yards and 13 touchdowns, you just do math on that, and he's played the hardest part of his schedule already. You know what I'm saying? This guy, Boise State could be, and we'll talk about this because we'll get there after the 6-packs, but Boise State could be in the playoffs. Just saying. Game 5, Tennessee goes to Arkansas. Woo pig. That is not my pick though. I like Tennessee. They're sneaky good on defense. And then I went with the farthest traveled game, I believe this week. Miami goes to Cal in a conference game.
Yeah, well, I heard their equipment truck hadn't even made it halfway by yesterday. So tough travels.
They're gonna be there. You gotta be moving. You gotta be moving that freight. So now I expect this to be a ugly game. Okay. And I'm not talking last week where like absolute barn burner and you were trading touchdowns and Hail Marys, and then a referee saves you from losing, even though the guy was down inbounds with ball. We won't get into it, but last week was kind of that glimpse of like Miami may not be indestructible, and everybody, and I believe you probably remember, there was many a time that Mario had issues in Cal against Wilcox, so much so that when he left for Miami, a group of alumnus got together and wrote a letter to the University of Oregon requiring them to hire Wilcox as the next head coach, only because they only saw Wilcox coach against Mario Cristobal, and it's because they're two throwbacks. Wilcox is going to play defensively super sound against what Mario wants to do offensively. I expect it to be a really good, close game when it shouldn't be. But Miami, I think, will win. And then my lock of the week, and we'll get into this more. Give me the funny look now. But my lock of the week is Iowa State. Okay, the Cyclones.
I've heard of them,
and I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm drinking the cyclonic Kool-Aid. I'm being drawn in. Okay, and that's all I'll say. We'll get into it after.
All right. Well, there are Jarrod's picks. We're glad to get. I think you did phenomenal, Jarrod.
It'll be interesting. I'm trying to write what we did last week.
Now it's my turn. I don't even really know where to start out of this. I guess I'll start at number 1. But first thing I want to say is to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, I'm sorry. I was wrong. You were right. The guy was Sosky, right? Or what's his name?
Solka.
Snuka? Jimmy Snuka?
Solka.
Whatever. Didn't need him. If anything, it showed that their performance was almost like it was a personal shot at the program, that this guy thought he was bigger than the program.
Yeah.
So they got the basketball school coming to town, Syracuse, and it's -6.5 here in favor of Nevada, Las Vegas at home. Long travel. Yeah, long travel. It's a long drive from Syracuse, New York to Nevada, Las Vegas. So I'm going to go with Nevada, Las Vegas -6.5. The theme, by the way, this week is just ride the hot hand until it's not hot anymore. I don't even care. After that, number 2, Kansas has let me down so much. I don't even really want to put them on the ticket because they could end up getting one back on me and making me regret life here. But going to the desert, you and I know how hard it is to go to the desert and come away with a win. And they got this running back named Scadaboo, who apparently I saw him play at Washington last year, and they must have said the name Scadaboo. And they also took regular words and then they put scata in front of it, like the entire broadcast. I pretty much wanted to scata shoot myself. So I was really sick of watching it. But the guy's a bruiser. He's a tough running back, and they'll run him into the ground. And
He's
you're
a
getting
program
3
guy.
points. Yeah, huh?
He's a program guy.
Yeah,
You know?
you're getting 3 points at home against a team that hasn't come up with a real big win at all this season. So I'm going to go with the former Pac-12 Sun Devil, the current Big 12 Sun Devil. I'm with you on Miami, Florida, except I'm brave enough here to lay it. I'm laying 10.5. I think Miami can go on the road, and I think they can just flat out outscore Cal here. And I know that's a big number considering that Cal went on the road and they beat Auburn straight up. And I mean, I said it's a big number, but I'm willing to lay it. Usually in games like this, the odds makers know something that we don't. So I'm going with it. I think that people are going to look at that spread and say, oh, Cal, 10.5 points at home. I'm going to grab that in a heartbeat. Not so fast, my friend.
I don't think so, buddy. I think that line will grow. I think if you like 10.5, grab it now because that line's going to grow. Like nobody knows Cal. Nobody's paid attention.
We'll revisit. It's a good idea. So then I got Minnesota. Listen, I think Minnesota off of a heartbreaking loss to Michigan on the road, and you're coming around at home and you're getting 8 points at home against a USC team that, based on their first half performance against Wisconsin and their second half performance against Michigan, they're really a Jekyll and Hyde team, and you don't really know what you're getting from them. And I mean, I don't think Minnesota wins straight up here, but I think that you're going to be in the running for 8 points given the circumstances. I mean, even a late score, to cut into the lead, cashes your ticket here if you're the Gophers. Yep. I'm okay with the Gophers. Then
sorry to interrupt, but I just looked because I wanted to check what Cal's record was. They beat UC Davis. They beat Auburn by a touchdown. They beat San Diego State, who hasn't been good this year. Do you know who their lone loss of the season is?
I want to say it's like Virginia Tech.
It's so much worse.
Oh, really? Ball State. I don't know.
Florida State.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I totally forgot. Yeah, Florida State. Yeah, okay. I mean, why is that bad? You're picking Florida State.
I am fresh off of a monumental win against the fellow ACC powerhouse juggernaut. So, yeah. Anyways, sorry.
All right, my fifth leg. Listen, I'm riding Southern Methodist right now.
Okay.
Southern Methodist's only loss of the year is a 3-point low-scoring game against BYU, where BYU's undefeated right now, and I think that if you're looking for a good loss, that's actually pretty good considering where the Brigham Young Cougars are at right now. I kind of wanted to call them something else, but I went with Cougars. Southern Methodist, though, the Mustangs, right? They are going to take on Louisville, and Louisville, fresh off of disappointing everybody and losing at Notre Dame, they've really got to come back with a win here, if they want to have a chance to stay in the conversation for getting to the playoff. But I really like Southern Methodist. They got a good quarterback, good running back, and they've been impressive actually. They just whooped up on Florida State, 42-16. So, I mean, come on, man. I mean, nobody thought in a million years that Florida State would be this down this year. I don't know if they really are that bad, but I'm all in on Southern Methodist right now with that game. And then finally, Jarrod, this game has got letdown trap written all over it, but I'm still going to go with them. Roll Tide, 22.5-point favorites on the road against the smart SEC school of Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
I just can't help but always think back to that video of the linebacker that they interviewed after Vanderbilt, got a win, and then they're taking on Alabama the next week. And, he says something like, Alabama, you're next. And it was like 59-0 Alabama.
Yeah.
So
you about to learn.
Yeah, I just can't. I went through this with DeBoer last year to where we played down so many close games, but they ultimately came away with wins. I don't know if we're going to get that this time, but I think that he's going to. I think he's going to keep his guys focused. I just don't see Vanderbilt scoring enough here to fringe that number. I mean, realistically, 34-10, covers this spread, Jared.
I know.
I mean, that's what I'm looking at right now. It's like 34-10, 38-10, 38-17, not so good. I don't like that. But I think that we could get there. I tell you what, if the final score ends up being like 38-16, I'm going to be a very sad person. But that's where I'm at. Wager $25. Take home $1,219.43 at 4,778 odds. These odds courtesy of the A&A Sportsbook in Ridgefield, Washington.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, we have a couple of differences, but one. But so then let's transition to the next part of this. Okay. We're now far enough in. Most teams have now played 4 games, quarter of the season. How does your SEC championship, if you were a betting man right now, which we know you are?
I'd have to look ahead at the schedule and see who plays who. But if you're looking at it from a standpoint of who I think the 2 best teams are, I think that it would be Alabama and Texas. That's my championship. That's where I'd be right now. Hold on a second. I'm just trying to figure out. I'm going to pull up the schedule real quick here for one of those teams so I can try to figure out if they play each other.
They do.
Regular season.
They do.
Because it's all one hodgepodge now, so they don't have like a set you know what I mean? Like they don't have like a division or anything like that, So
they don't play in regular season, but Texas and Alabama will most likely end up in the
championship. Yeah, I mean I think Alabama at Tennessee is going to be a real tough game. And of course, you never know what happens in the Alabama-Auburn matchup. And then the Red River Shootout, Oklahoma and Texas. I mean, those are some tough games too. Yeah, I mean, that's where my money is at. I like your pick of Missouri this week, but honestly, with Missouri being a top 10 team, I could see A&M, pulling off the upset in this one. I mean, the 12th man, the original and the trademark 12th man, by the way, at Texas A&M, it's a tough place to go in and get wins. You never know what could happen. But I just don't see very many teams in the SEC being perfect. And I don't know. I guess I would say that Tennessee game again with Alabama, that could be the game that decides who would play Texas, because I don't see Texas losing. I honestly don't. I think that they're so far and away talented, more talented than it seems most teams. And since they don't play Alabama in the regular season, that's the only team that I feel like probably would match up with them talent-wise.
They do have they do play Georgia.
Texas does?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that'll obviously be a tough game. Yeah, I mean, it can go either way there. I think that all of those teams, though, that we're talking about, I think they're all safe, when it comes to getting in the playoffs.
They play Georgia at home.
If I had to guess, man, I mean, the way the season's going, I see Alabama being in the playoff. I see Texas being in the playoff. I mean, I still see Tennessee probably being there, even with maybe 2 losses if they're at 2 losses. And Georgia, I think they'll be there. I mean, I think 4 teams from the SEC are ultimately going to get in here based on how it goes.
I got it all mapped out, man.
Are those 4 teams? Are those 4 teams on there from the SEC?
So I have Bama playing Texas, right, in the championship game. Okay. Bama wins. Texas would be the 5th, right? Number 5. They're the first team outside of the conference champions, because conference champions will be ranked 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think the SEC champion will be 1. So Bama will be 1. I think
I don't know yet. You might Big Ten champion in there, depending on how things look down the stretch.
There's too much stock on the SEC, and I think
Probably.
that there's a world where the Big Ten championship is Ohio State versus Rutgers. Because Rutgers plays nobody. They don't play Oregon. They don't play Ohio State. They don't play Penn State. They don't play Michigan. They play nobody. Rutgers can be undefeated and end up in the
They
Big
play
Ten
Nebraska this week. You picked Nebraska.
I did, because I don't want that to be the situation in the Big Ten. I'm trying to warlock math. But so I have Ohio State winning the Big Ten. I think they'll be number 2. I have Iowa State playing Utah in the Big 12 championship game. I have Iowa State winning that one. And then I have Miami playing probably Clemson. I say probably Clemson in the ACC championship game, and Miami winning there. So then your first 5 out would be Texas at 5, Oregon at 6, Georgia at 7. And this one felt weird, but Penn State at 8. And that's just a product of their schedule. They're not going to play in a conference championship game, I don't think. But they have – hold on. We're going to pull it up for you. Their schedule is pretty easy. I think
Hold up. They play Washington.
They do, after playing Ohio State. So that works. But their next games are UCLA, at USC, at Wisconsin, home against Ohio State, home against Washington, at Purdue, at Minnesota, at Maryland, and they're undefeated right now. So they lose 1 game in that next stretch. They're playoff bound for sure, and they could theoretically be in the conference championship game. But I have them at 8. And then 9, Tennessee. I'm ready for the really awkward face now. 10 is USC. I know. I hate myself for that pick too. I just feel like they're going to end up a stupid 2-loss team, because yet again, they have... Hold on. Hear me out. I think they could beat Penn State this weekend, or when they play. I think
they don't play this week,
but they could win, right? Yeah, they're at Minnesota. Next week's Penn State. I mean, they go. So USC's remaining schedule after Penn State, which is a hard game, is Maryland, Rutgers, Washington, Nebraska, UCLA, and Notre Dame. They could be a 2-loss team and sneak in as the 10th seed. And I know it just kills you inside, because you're like, no, there's so many more teams that are that deserve it more. I hear you. I'm with you. Everybody.
I just don't think they're going to get in, because I think that ultimately, I mean, I know what you're saying, right? And it's not just because I'm picking Minnesota to beat them this week. Okay. Let's just say hypothetically that USC wins the game. All right. And they, all right. I ultimately feel that they'll lose the game against Penn State, but of course they could always win it. The game that's going to matter the most to them is the game against Notre Dame. If Notre Dame ends up winning that game, and let's assume they win all their games, because they probably play Army, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard here over the next 4 weeks. end up being there because they're not in a conference, right? They're they're guaranteed to be in type thing.
Worse. Ready for this? Notre
Yeah.
Dame plays Stanford, Georgia Tech, Navy, Florida State, Virginia, Army, USC.
Yeah. So, like I said, Navy, Army, Coast Guard, right? And then USC. So once they get, I think Notre Dame will end up taking a spot. And then here's my last. I'll tell you who your 12th team should be. I think I know it. Okay, it's Boise fucking State.
Yeah, I have Boise State, but I actually have them as the 11. Okay, and then in the 12th spot, I have Utah because they will be the Big 12.
No, they're done.
Come on, they've one loss.
They're done.
Without
they're done.
Cam Rising, they're fine.
They're done.
Mark my words.
Done.
Don't count out the boy Rising.
They're done. They're not even going to beat Brigham Young. They're done.
Oh, stop it.
They're done.
Stop it.
You know it.
I don't. I have them squarely.
So, did you have you have Clemson in there?
Nope. Right there.
Who do you got from the Who do you got in the ACC?
Miami.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
It's right there.
All right. I mean, yeah, no, I get it. All right. Well, I mean, I can tell you this much right now, right? If Iowa State were to get in, okay, that means Utah's not getting in.
Right there?
Yeah.
Iowa State.
I saw it. Yeah, they're not. And if they do get in, they're not going to be in the top 4. That's absurd. That's absolutely absurd.
But if Boise State ends up the 11th seed, like I think they can, that would be a rematch for Oregon.
No, stop. Dude, I'm telling you right now that there is no way in God's green earth that Iowa State is going to be in the top 4.
Buddy, you need to put some respect on the Cyclones.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No,
All right, I'm going to pull it up right now. Don't feel foolish. It's okay.
What's their best? They're 16 right now.
Hold on.
So they beat North Dakota State. They beat Iowa by 1. They beat Arkansas State, and then they beat Houston. They still play at West Virginia, Texas Tech. They play nobody.
So the best odds right now to win the Big 12 is Kansas State at 400. Directly behind them is Utah at 425, and then the Iowa State Cyclones at 425. Time to put some respect on the Cyclones. It's here.
My co-host for Pick 6 is in the comment section. Matt says he's not sure about a group of 5 school being higher than 12. No way that happens. Yeah, I mean, Boise State's the last team in if they're in.
I'm telling you right now, they're going to show, and this is a political move, they're going to put a conference, whoever sneaks in, if it is UNLV undefeated or Boise State, with their one loss being a 3-point loss to Oregon, they will be higher than whatever ACC team you put in or whatever Big 12 team you put in. Because those are the only conferences that do not have another team outside of their conference champion. And they will not go, based on this and based on odds, if you look at them, there's no way that you're going to have more than 4 SEC teams inside of the playoffs. And then to double down on that, I don't think you're going to have more than 3 Big 10 teams in the playoffs. So that's 7. You still have 5 spots to fill, and one of those is guaranteed a group of 5. Are you really telling me that there is 4 teams, 2 more teams outside of whoever wins the Big 12 or in the ACC that deserves to be in more than Boise State should they go undefeated from this point forward?
Let's just say, for the sake of argument here, that you don't know what you're talking about, and I do. All right, let's just say that, right? Let's start there, okay? So your number 1 is obviously going to be Bama, All right.
Mm-hmm.
Your number 2 is more than likely, and this is not a shot, okay? It's just the way I see it. Ohio State at 2. All right.
Yeah, that's what I have.
That's where I would go right there.
That's
all
what
right.
I have.
Then, depending on if there's a one-loss team, let's just say that Texas and Alabama met in the SEC championship game, both undefeated, right? At that point. Okay, Texas is the loser of that game, right? I got Texas at 3. Okay.
Texas can't be 3.
Why can't they?
Conference champions are 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what I'm telling you.
This is the rule. This has to be done.
It has to be. The conference champions get the first round bye. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why Oregon State and Washington State were trying to hold on to their guaranteed buy-in to the process. And they went, no, we're getting rid of this anyways because we want the first 4 to have buys.
Okay, well then Texas is 5th. All right.
Okay.
Then I'll go Clemson at 3. Okay. That's where I'd go. I'd go Clemson at 3. And then whoever wins the sorry ass Big 12. I mean, I just looked at Iowa State. I just looked at Iowa State's schedule here, and it is like garbage. Like they play at home to Baylor, they play at West Virginia. You can argue that might be their toughest game.
No,
they play at home to UCF. They play at home to Texas Tech. They play at Kansas, who's 1-4 right now. They play at home to Cincinnati. Hold on, they play at home to Cincinnati. They play at Utah, who's awful. And then they play at home to Kansas State, who's awful. They're all bad. None of these teams are any good. They might actually win every game at this point.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to end up being undefeated, and then they'll play in the conference title game.
You're talking me into it. I mean, just by me looking at this sorry schedule here, I think BYU could still be the team to come out of there, though. BYU's still undefeated, also.
There is there was a lot of pause, but I can't put that much faith in BYU. Can't.
Yeah, this isn't the 80s.
Yeah. So
I don't know. That's a sorry schedule. I can tell you that much.
Let's revisit the college football playoffs in 4 weeks, where I change all of my picks because everything's gone terribly.
Okay, so as of right now, BYU is undefeated. Iowa State's undefeated. God, why are there so many teams in these conferences right now? This is just so ridiculous to have to try to decipher, because it used to be that it was easy to tell who plays who because they played everybody.
Right. Now
it's like you're trying to figure out what the best strategy is to get in. Right now, Iowa State seems to be the leader in the clubhouse. Honestly, buddy, I wouldn't rule out Colorado here. I really wouldn't. I think Colorado's got just as good of a shot as anybody.
I mean, yeah, it's the Big 12. It's America's conference.
Yeah, exactly. BYU plays at home to Arizona. They play at home to Oklahoma State. I'm a man. I'm 40. They play at UCF. BYU plays at Utah.
I mean, I totally hear what you're saying, Matt. 100%, and especially
Colorado's
with the way
garbage. What do you mean Colorado's garbage?
With the way that, what was it, 2-3 days ago, report comes out that the Big Ten and the SEC are requesting 4 automatic berths for their conference into the 16-team playoff that's coming next year, because 12, we only get 1 year of it. So, I mean, totally, there could very well be a point where it's just all Big Ten and SEC, and then you don't get the diversity. But for what it's worth, I hope that we see at least two Big Ten teams or 2 ACC teams get in there. It's just, if it was Florida State was healthy and playing like normal, great. Yeah, not enough belief in Clemson yet. It could be Clemson, Clemson could be that team instead of Utah.
Of course they are. I wrote them down. They're in there.
Right. Just like Iowa State is.
You know what I mean, though.
I do. All right. Let's get professional.
So this is as professional as it gets in the city of Longview, okay? And Kelso.
Okay.
So Utah's at Arizona State. They're home to TCU. They're at Houston, home to BYU, at Colorado, home to Iowa State, at UCF. Shit, they might actually. Josh is onto something here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Whatever. I'm gonna go Utah. I'll put Utah at 4. I think that I think if Rising is healthy, right?
Yet again.
What?
Utah.
What?
Yet again.
What?
Utah right there at 12. And then
okay. Well, I'm going 4.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, Texas is 5th. All right. Okay. I'm gonna go Oregon, as much as it pains me, at 6.
Okay.
That means we've got. I'm gonna just jump to 12 real quick. All right. So, like Notre Dame's technically ACC, yeah.
No, Notre Dame's independent. That's why Notre Dame could have gone undefeated and not been allowed the top 4 seeds because they can't win a conference championship.
So they would be group of 5 then?
No, they're just independent.
So they're not group of 5. I thought they were ACC for football.
No, they did that during COVID.
That's it.
Yep.
I should know this. I don't really watch a lot of college football anymore, outside of the games that I pick, of course. But I have to figure this out. But okay, well, anyway, seems to me that we've only got 2 SEC teams in here. So obviously we need to fit 2 more of those. We've only got 2 Big Ten teams. We probably got to fit 2 more of those. And since you're telling me that I'm going to go Boise State at 12 because I think they don't play anybody either.
Correct.
I mean, Washington State, I guess they could have done it until last week.
Yeah, they got beat by Boise State bad.
Yeah, it didn't look good. No. All right. Well, 7 through 11 here. We got 5 teams to settle it. I still think that Notre Dame will get in, so I'll put them at 11.
Okay.
Now we've got 4 spots left, and we've got Tennessee. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go Georgia at 7. I'm going Georgia.
Yep.
That's 7.
I agree. I concur.
I'll say Tennessee at 9.
Okay.
I'll go Penn State at 8.
Okay.
And Miami at 10.
Okay.
So 1 is Bama, 2 Ohio State, 3 Clemson, 4 Utah, 5 Texas, 6 Oregon, 7 Georgia, 8 Penn State, 9 Tennessee, 10 Miami, 11 Notre Dame, 12 Boise State.
Yep.
I should have saved room for the Mustangs of SMU, man. Jeez.
No, they're gone.
They're rolling into it. They're going to go undefeated the rest of the way. They're going to finish with 1 loss.
I wanted to write SMU, but can't.
So give me year 12 again.
All right.
See where we're similar at.
Bama 1. Ohio State 2.
Okay, we're good.
Iowa State Cyclones 3.
You're wrong.
Miami is the ACC champs.
I got them in there. Okay, I'll give you that.
Texas 5. Oregon 6. Georgia 7. Penn State 8. Tennessee 9.
Oh, man.
USC at 10.
No.
Boise State at 11. Utah at 12.
Are we are we really just brushing aside Michigan here? Like I feel like that we're really brushing aside Michigan.
No, Michigan
I
could
feel
win
like
the rest of
I
their
think
games
Michigan could easily be in that spot number 8 where Penn State's at right now, depending on how things go.
if Florida State was able to play in the playoffs last year, yeah. But Florida State, nope. Nope. Michigan, no. No. Michigan's gonna lose 2 more games minimum. Minimum. They might be an 8-4 ball club. You want to talk some shit? You want me to get
Oregon? Did they go Oregon this year or no?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There is Oregon.
First off, they're gonna lose this weekend. Okay.
To the Huskies?
Yeah, Washington's gonna beat them this weekend. Okay.
Think so,
huh? Yeah, absolutely. This is a perfect spot. It's exactly what you want. You want Washington to be a bullshit top 10 Michigan team and be like, Michigan's not good on any level. They play Washington this weekend. They're going to lose. They have to go to Illinois right after that, but it's a bye week, right? So they get a bye week after
Fighting Illini, huh?
Yeah, they have to go to the Fighting Illini. Then they're home, Michigan State, and then they have Oregon. They play Indiana. Who knew Indiana was going to be this good? But guess what? They are. They get a layup against Northwestern, and then they play Ohio State. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of their next 6 is ranked opponents.
So what you're saying is if they win all those games, that they're going to move way up in the rankings.
I mean, yeah, if they do, if we live in.
Let's just circle back real quick and then we'll move on here. But you said you had USC, right? Yeah. Just out of curiosity, who won that game between USC and Michigan this year?
27-24. It was.
I just want to know who won. I don't want to know how close it was. I just want to know who won the game.
At Michigan. We all watched the game. You said it earlier. I could play you back.
Do you know who won the game?
USC should have won.
You should. I just looked it up. No, I knew. Come on. Because we picked that game.
Right.
The answer to that question is Michigan. Michigan won that game.
I mean, yeah, I think USC at 10-2, they get into the playoffs with their losses being Michigan 3 points on the road at Michigan and then Penn State. Probably.
You really trust Lincoln Riley that much?
No, but I trust the schedule.
10 wins?
I trust the schedule. Minnesota, Penn State, Maryland, Rutgers, Washington, Nebraska.
You got Penn State at 8, right?
Yeah.
You got Penn State at 8?
Mm-hmm.
So who do you got winning the Penn State USC game?
Probably USC.
I just don't see it.
Penn State can lose.
This is going to take some serious Warlock math here to get.
No, I think you're going to see a bunch of 2-loss teams. You might even see a 3-loss team in the playoffs.
Yeah, you might be right, Matt. They might be better than everybody else. I don't know.
I'd agree with 50% of that statement.
Yeah, Penn State probably is head and shoulders better than everybody else in the Big Ten this year. It's okay. You'll have to forgive Matt. He doesn't like the Huskies. He's a Cougar alumni.
Okay.
He's probably upset after last weekend. I don't blame him.
You just got to stop Gianti. That simple.
Yeah, it's not really simple. He's got like 1,000 yards rushing right now. So, like, legitimately though,
850.
Well, it's pretty close.
All right, here.
Let's get out of the college football. Let's move on to professional football. All right. So let's get our 6 picks for NFL in. Jared, I'll have you go first.
Okay. All right. So New York Giants stroll into Lumen Field. I don't care if we have 6 starters, 7 starters, 8 starters missing off of defense. We cannot lose to the Giants. I will the Seattle to a victory. Baltimore travels to Cincinnati. And I mean, your game plan's simple. Hand it to Derrick Henry and then let Lamar do Lamar things. Baltimore. This one scares me. I don't know why I picked it, but I did. So we're already here. Graphics made. Carolina travels to Chicago. Carolina. I just got a feeling. I like it. Cleveland travels to Washington, the Commanders. I think I'm starting to fall in love with the Commanders and what they could be. Give me the Commanders. And then Dallas travels to Pittsburgh. And I know may not be the best situation ever, but I do like Pittsburgh's defense and what they're able to do. So give me Pittsburgh. And then New Orleans travels to the Chiefs. And as long as there's zebras on the field, the Chiefs will win ball games. So give me the Chiefs. I will roll with that as my 6. $25 wins you $5.56. And I know these odds are small, guys, but after the performance of what we did last week, it's like the old fishing, mantra. Can't catch the big ones, you start messing around with the small ones because you just got to catch something to get your mind right. So small parlay this week, get the mind right. Let's move forward.
Yeah. Well, all in all, I don't think that what you got going here is terrible. I think it's pretty safe. So the one spot where I'm really worried at is I'm with you on at least one of these games, except I'm not really going money lines.
Okay.
But I like Washington as well. And because of that, that really makes me scared because with a rookie quarterback, there's gonna be a coach out there that figures out something that these other coaches haven't yet, right? The NFL is deep with great coordinators, great scouts. They usually try to figure out something that's going to work to slow somebody down who's on a hot streak. And yeah, no doubt that Jaden Daniels is on a hot streak. But when you start grouping him in with the likes of Geno Smith, right, in the MVP category, we're just way off here. It's like he sees the bright lights, he sees the paychecks and all the fame and fortune that goes with being in the same conversation, the same breath as Geno Smith when it comes to being the most valuable player of the league. And you freeze like a deer in the headlights, that makes me worried. But like I said, I went with him also, Jarrod and I don't talk about our picks. We just let this go. So I'll start though with someplace else. Look, again, the theme of the show, Jarrod, hot streaks. All right. I'm not on one, so I'm going to ride people who are. Bo Nix is on a hot streak. Denver's on a hot streak. They're playing the hapless Raiders, and the Raiders are about ready to lose their best player to the Jets. So let's go ahead and go with Bo Nix at home, 3 points against the Raiders. Yeah. Seems like easy money here, which means it's probably not. But I'm going to go with Denver for the first leg. I'm going back to San Francisco after covering 10.5 rather easily last week against New England and Arizona getting pounded by Jaden Daniels at home. I'm going to go with San Francisco covering 7. It's a push number as well. I hate that, but I'll still take the 7 at home. And then I'm with you on Washington. Look, it's only 3 points. I think they can cover 3. I know you're going money line on this game here. I mean, that's pretty much the same thing, except it's a push number as well. I don't like that. I'd much rather have the half point. If I could tease this ticket down a half a point, I would probably look to do that. But here we go, New England, right, at home against Miami. Look, Miami looks dead. Miami looks like dead in the water. Like, I don't know who they got at quarterback. They should probably think about putting Tyreek Hill at quarterback and just running Wildcat the whole time. The birthplace of the Wildcat was New England when Ronnie Brown and Ricky Williams unleashed it on the world. I say put Tyreek Hill back at quarterback and just run the freaking ball all the way down the field. But unfortunately, they probably won't do that. I think that the Dolphins have a stout enough defense here to where, the Patriots have a stout enough defense here to where, Miami's going to struggle to get above 13. I mean, they just lost a home game to the Titans, man, and Will Levis and Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
I mean, I think of the Patriots team that went into overtime against the MVP of the league, Geno Smith, and the Seattle Seahawks. So I think that team shows up, and it's 1 point. It's a pick 'em. Give me New England at home, and then Seattle in a bad mood after allowing Detroit to just have their way with them. I think Jared Goff just completed another pass, so I'm pretty sure the Seahawks defense is going to be very foul, and they're going to get, I think, 3, maybe 4 injured guys back this week. It sounds like Julian Love's going to be okay. That was the guy that I was most concerned about them losing. Malik Neighbors is a question mark for the Giants. The thing is that when you're dealing with a guy who's got a concussion, right, and you're not Miami,
Right.
you usually want to take care of that guy who's got a concussion. I wouldn't be shocked if either A, Neighbors sits out, or B, he plays, but they kind of reduce his target share a little bit more. He's got the most targets out of any wide receiver to this point. 6.5. I think the Seahawks are in the neighborhood here of 24-17. That's a cover. 27-20. That's a cover.
Yeah.
I'm going to go laying the 6.5 there with you. And I hate using my home teams and the teams that I root for. I hate it. Buffalo just got their pants pulled down and spanked by Baltimore. And I know Houston's a sexy pick right now, but there's a lot going on in this game. You got Stephon Diggs playing his former team. You got Josh Allen trying to prove you don't need Stephon Diggs. You got just basically Josh Allen, Dalton Kincaid, and James Cook. I think this is a James Cook game.
Yeah.
I think Buffalo's a little bit more healthy. And again, it's a pick 'em. I'm looking at a Buffalo bounce back here. I think Diggs will get his and have a good game for Houston, but Dell was out last week. If he's out again and Collins is leading the league in receiving, I think it's going to be a shootout. I can see why we're at 1 point here. So, but I'm going Buffalo. So there's your 6-pack. That's what you do. You wager $25 and you win lots of money. Got to get it pulled. Got to get it pulled up right here. You wager 25, you win $1,138.03 at plus 4,452 odds. And yeah, I need a week here to where, if you want to play individual tickets on each of these games and then do a parlay leg at the end, why not?
Right.
I feel pretty good about these games individually. I think that 4 out of 6 are for sure going to hit. I feel really confident about Denver. I feel really confident about New England. I feel really confident about Seattle.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put Buffalo in the real confident category.
But decently.
I feel confident. Yeah.
I looked at that game. I thought about it. I was like, man, is this a good bounce back game for him? Houston's.
I'm feeling really confident in San Francisco. The 2 games that I'm wary of here in terms of confidence is I'm wary of Washington and I'm wary of Buffalo. Other than that, I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah. No,
I'm surprised how close. I'm surprised how close we were on our 12 college team playoff and where they were at. And the thing is at this point, right? It means nothing because I can think back to so many years where the first computer rankings would come out and then the first committee rankings would come out and 3 teams that weren't even in the top, 6 ended up getting there because there's always something crazy that happens. There's always teams that slip up and lose to somebody, like an Arkansas. They lose to a Texas A&M. They lose to an SMU. They lose to a Washington State. Not really, not this year, but
no, it's true though. I mean, it always changes. That's why I said as soon as we got done with it, we'll revisit in 4 weeks and change all of our picks because
I don't know.
I
don't know. I feel like that Bama or Texas. I feel like Bama Texas is 1 and 5.
Yeah,
whichever order that ends up being in.
If Texas wins number 1, Bama's 5. Yeah.
So the way that I have the matchups here, I would have Texas against Boise State in the first round, and then Oregon, Notre Dame,
Yep.
Georgia, Miami, and Penn State, Tennessee. Those are some good games.
Yeah. And those are going to be home games.
Yeah. The computer rankings suck. No, they don't, Matt. I bet Matt's got an algorithm here for NFL teams or just for college teams making the playoffs. If you don't, Matt, you should definitely do one, I would say. By the way, Matt, I don't know if you saw, but Franklin Pierce beat Eatonville 50-0 tonight. Yeah, Cardinals are indeed for real. Cannot wait to see how the rest of the season pans out, and I'm sure the computer loves them now after a win over undefeated Eatonville via shutout.
That's a bad one.
Bro, I want you to know Franklin Pierce was in the gutter like 3 years ago. Like I'm talking like no wins or one win.
Yeah.
The gutter. And they run the power T offense. So go watch any 1970s or 80s high school football game. That's their offense. And it looks so beautiful.
That's awesome.
It's like the Army wishbone or something that you would run in NCAA 25. By the way, Matt loves NCAA 25, Jarrod. So
we'll have to run some sticks.
Yeah, I don't have it because I'm lame and busy.
Upgrades, people.
Yeah.
You wanted to touch on UFC? There's like one fight to touch on.
Well, I picked the main card. If you're interested,
I can pick the main card in like 5 seconds. Yeah.
Well, I'll do mine first, and
I'll agree or disagree. How about that? Yeah, go.
Okay. All right. So I got Roman Dolidze against Kevin Holland at plus 120.
You're taking Rome?
Yeah.
No. Give me the mouth.
Okay.
Okay.
I got Kayla Harrison over Caitlin Vieira at minus 1430.
Agree.
Listen, okay, so besides just picking that one straight up, right? I would go Harrison via submission.
Yep.
And I'd go Harrison under 2.5 rounds for sure. Probably under 1.5. I might even go something like that.
Yep.
All right. Okay. I got Mario Batista at minus 143 over Jose Aldo.
No.
Okay. I got Juliana Pena at plus 133 over Raquel Pennington.
Yes.
I got Alex Pereira at minus 500 over Khalil Roundtree.
You can even parlay that into an Alex Pereira first round knockout.
First round knockout, huh?
I mean, if you want to be safe, take the second round knockout. But yeah, no. Pereira's putting Khalil to sleep pretty swiftly.
You could just go win by knockout. You don't even have to go round. You could just parlay that. You think Aldo's going to beat Batista, huh?
Yeah. I do.
Father Time is undefeated, man.
I mean, I get it, but not when you're able to go back to Brazil and have those drinks. Got you.
When you have the Canelo meat, the Mexican meat.
Yeah. What does Borrachino call it? The secret juice, the secret sauce.
Well, for Conor McGregor, it's the secret powder.
Yeah, no, he's not fighting. That doesn't check.
So, by the way, if you went with that parlay that I talked about there, it's $25 for $279, basically $280. It's $279 and 73 cents. I just can't. I can't rely on Kevin Holland, bro. Like I don't know, man. When I get it, he's had 37 professional fights, 26 wins. I mean, obviously he's a vet, and Dolidze has only got like 16 professional fights.
Yeah.
13-3 in those. That's not like a world beater number, though, by the way, for a guy with 16 professional fights. Like, you know.
No, if it's a striking stand up, I like the mouth.
Right.
If it turns into a wrestling match, then no, not so much. If
You're doing great. Talk yourself into it. Yep, Dolan
no,
says.
I stand where I stand. I like Holland.
Yeah.
Right. I do. He's the one that I'm a fan of his. I want him to succeed. I want him to do good. But he does have a bit of a ground problem. And if you get him to the ground, it's going to be an issue.
I hope to God that when we get to the main event that Khalil doesn't shoot.
He's going to. And then he's just going to get oblivion.
Sidebar real quick.
Yeah.
Is Alex Pereira in the greatest of all time conversation?
Yes.
I think so too. I really do.
It's not even close.
I think the one thing about Pereira, I guess I'll add one other thing. The two things about Pereira that I love. One, he has that it factor, bro. He will start you completely out unconscious. Number two, his activity, man. The guy just continues to fight and fight and fight like he owes the mob money, you know?
Like I was just looking at his like last fights to like see. So in 2024, this is already going to be his third fight. If he wins as fast as what I think he's going to, he'll fight again. Last year in 23, he fought 3 times. In 22, he fought 3 times. In 21, he fought once because that was his, it was November. But in 22, his first fight was March. So he's consistently fighting. He's always out there fighting. Like he's just a machine. I had to look for you, Matt, just to give you an idea. I have 10 days, 19 hours, and 52 minutes in NCAA so far. So 269 hours.
Ooh.
I didn't know it was that bad. I just looked at it. I'm grossed out.
Just out of curiosity, how many of those hours are not playing with Oregon? 1? Over or under 1.5 hours?
No, because I started a new dynasty where I started as like an offensive coordinator to build up my coach so I can work my way to Oregon. And I've been playing that for like the last week, and I'm in like season 2. So, I mean, I'd give it probably 14 hours of that has been not with Oregon.
Oh, that's still really good for you.
Hey, I'm actually surprised I can say that much time went to a different team.
I think Matt was most recently, I think he said he was doing a dynasty with New Mexico State, and his quarterback like had a career ending like spinal cord injury or something, broke his back, and he's done playing football forever. So
Jesus.
Super sad and depressing.
I've had a couple of those where like last season I started as Liberty's offensive coordinator, and I was just feeding the rock to the running back, and it was like week 4 and he'd already crossed like 200 carries for the season because I was just, this is the way we're going to get down this year. And Quentin Cooley like snapped his ACL, and that was it. And I was like, damn, like now we got to figure out a different way to win these games.
Glad I don't know the pain of all of this yet. So
you will.
You think so?
Yeah, you'll crack at some point.
I mean, I want it, you know. I just don't have it. I will get it.
You'll get it.
What do you got going on this weekend, buddy?
Work.
I mean, when you're off work.
Saturday, probably nothing. We get off at 7, and then Sunday.
You should get off early and come watch that Husky Michigan game. And then we can turn on the Expo. Then we can turn on the legal stream of UFC.
Right, legal stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crack some brewskis.
Yeah, we'll figure out something.
What do you think about that? No.
I won't be getting off early, but we can figure out something.
By the way, Jarrod here correctly predicted the gender of our baby. It's a girl. She hasn't had the opportunity to tell us what her gender actually is. So until that moment, Jarrod accurately correct. So I asked the doctor, I'm like, "Are you sure?" And she goes, "Yeah, I'm sure. You could tell right here. It's got these 3 lines right there." And I'm like, "Oh, right on. Do you know for sure whether or not it prefers to be called a woman?" And she kind of like looked at me and sideways and was like, she's like, "It's a woman." And I'm like, "Can you explain to me like what that means?"
I bet your wife was just thrilled with you in that moment.
Oh no, she's got a really good sense of humor as well.
I know, she's used to it. She knows exactly what she's getting in with you.
I mean, nearing 13 years, I think, with me total. Yeah, I mean, kind of know what you got at this point. But we all shared a brief, ha 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 moment, But really, I mean, it's a serious conversation. Anyway, congratulations, buddy. I haven't thought of a name yet, but
it's okay. You got time, man.
Due date February 19th. That is exactly 1 month behind Preston's first birthday. His birthday will be January the 19th. So,
damn. So he's 1 day after Rowan, and then mine and Graham's birthday is the 11th of February.
Of January?
Of February.
I mean, it could play its way in. I mean, it could play its way up.
We'll see what happens, won't we?
Yeah. I was actually really excited. My wife sent me a picture today, and it was a picture of like a tutu and that she found at Kids Resale. And, it was pink. It looked like one of those, ballerina dancer outfits and stuff. And I'm just like, oh man, that's right. It's like reality setting in here. So,
yeah.
It was cool.
It's different.
I can't wait. So yeah. Oh yeah. It's gonna be a totally different change. So I'm super excited about it. But congratulations on selecting the gender correctly. You did awesome.
Now, if I could only make that happen with my picks, we'd be rich.
Yeah. Right on, buddy. Well,
Right,
I
brother.
appreciate you coming on by once again and spending some time with me talking sports and hopefully talking about some schmeckles. And one thing you didn't do is a topographical pick of the week. So why don't you, Brucey, tell me a little bit about how that Khalil Roundtree and Alex Pereira matchup is going to go in UFC this Saturday. I mean, I hate putting Brucey on the spot though, It's the best part of my day here.
You never put me on the spot, and I'm actually the topographical game of the week is actually it's in the NFL. I was waiting for the call out. I'm here now. Okay, fucking fair. Cleveland, the Brownies. Not sure what exactly that mascot is. Sometimes it's an elf. Sometimes it's just a fucking helmet. Okay. They travel to the Commanders. Okay. And now, have you ever seen an elf inside of a city? Me neither. Right. Every factory I've ever seen inside of a city is, in fact, concrete. It's not a fucking little tree with a window and a door and a little oven inside. Like, how fucking smart is that? I know you were nervous about the Commanders here, but this geographically, topographically, a complete mismatch. Brownies, the dogs, the dog pound. Yeah, they don't know what they are. Okay, they're confused. The Commanders, they know what they are. Okay, they're the Commanders. They're gonna win. That's your topographical pick of the week, Commanders.
Well, I'm so relieved since Brucey's, I think, undefeated with topographical picks. That really makes me feel good because that one I really wasn't super sure on. By the way, Brucey has a strange resemblance to international breakdancing star Ray Gunn.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's actually me aunt twice removed.
You might want to think about removing her a third time.
Yeah, can't happen.
Yeah.
She already married both the brothers.
I love it. That's awesome. Yeah, you could end it on one of those. Yeah. Oh, is that like the biggest sham in the history of competitive dancing? It's gotta be.
It got breakdancing kicked out of the Olympics, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was so
That's
bad. It
so
got,
bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
It's so bad. We never want to see this again.
yeah.
The breakdancing scandal.
Like breakdancing was happening and the Olympics was like watching it like tick up, and then that match happened, and then they just watched it go.
Yeah. Not good.
Not good.
Well,
All
we
right, brother.
appreciate everybody who stopped in to watch the show and type some things into the live stream comment section. Check us out each week, Thursday nights, 8:30-ish, sometime after Thursday night football. And we'll be back doing it again. We'll catch up on our bets next week. That is my man, Jarrod Stidham, Coach J-Rock. I am Nick Sisson, N2 Media. Have a good night, degenerates.